2014 and February 9, 2014. If any board member or member of the public in attendance believes that this meeting is in violation of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Hoboken Board of Education requests that they make a statement at this time. The board wishes to make those in attendance aware that this meeting is being recorded on video and will be broadcast by the board at a later date on Hoboken Daily Channel 77 and FiOS Channel 46. The Hoboken Board of Education is committed to preserving the decorum of the public process and is mindful that we live in an electronic age of computers, cell phones, and other electronic communication devices. Nevertheless, we respectfully request that all meeting participants kindly silence their electronic devices during the course of the meeting, and if the use of the device is necessary, we ask that you please leave the room if you need to conduct personal business. Thank you. If you could please rise for the salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call roll. Mr. Biancamano.
Present.
Ms. Evans.
Here.
Ms. Klufeld.
Here.
Ms. McAllister called earlier. She will not be able to attend tonight. Ms. Mitchell.
Here.
Mrs. Rhodes Kearns.
Present.
Ms. Sobolov.
Here.
Ms. Stromwell.
Here.
And Dr. Gold.
Present. What I would like to do is go over the agenda. We're going to have the recognition of the students. We're going to have the superintendent's report. Then we're going to have the BA's report. Then we're going to have to go into executive session for about 20 minutes. Then we will start with the committee reports. So I think most of you are here for the recognition, so we're not going to slow that up. So please.
Good evening, Mr. President and fellow board members. First of all, I would like to start off by congratulating and commending all the school principals. This month they are celebrating Black History Month, and there's a lot of activities going on in each of the buildings. In Brant, they have age-appropriate reading assignments, some bulletin boards, and also some singing. At Calabro School, they have physical education students will learn about famous African-American athletes of the past and their impact on athletics. They will also have classroom activities from the NEA website. They also have music. Students will learn about African-American jazz, and they will also enjoy a jazz presentation tomorrow in school. At Connor School, they will make daily announcements over the intercom, giving facts about pioneers of African-American descent. The world language teacher will also have students explore pioneers of African-American descent and comparing them to pioneers within different cultures. At the high school, they are having a essay contest sponsored by the HEA, and that's a district-wide contest. There's a cash prize of $50 for 3 categories. There's a grade 4 through 6, grade 7 and 8, and a third category of 9 through 12. So we thank the HEA for sponsoring that contest. They are also having a daily announcements over the PA system on accomplishments of African Americans in the areas of science, education, technology, history, math, art, and literature. They are also having an African American Film Festival during the week, where they will show a African American film after school, where the kids can come and enjoy the free movie and popcorn. They will also have an annual Unity and Recognition Luncheon at the high school, honoring several of our employees. They will have certificates and awards. And some of our recognizable people that will be recognized will be Eugene Drayton, Vinnie Johnson, Patricia Williams, and Elizabeth Falco. So once again, I congratulate and commend all the schools for their activities in honoring Black History Month. This evening, we are recognizing 2 months of Students of the Month, beginning with December, we have at Calabro, we have a 5th grader, Jordan Singonet. Is Jordan here? No. Jordan is a wonderful 5th grade student. He is caring, well-mannered, and respectful to all. Whenever you need help, Jordan is more than willing to volunteer. Jordan always maintains a positive and enthusiastic attitude in school and works hard to do his absolute best. Jordan is a very upbeat and easygoing towards his teachers and fellow students. Please join me in congratulating Jordan. Our next student is a 5th grader from Connors, Joshua Aracena. Joshua's not here. Joshua has made great strides since entering 5th grade. He continues to build upon his abilities in order to achieve his goals. He is always willing to lend a helping hand to his fellow classmates. Joshua responds to all challenges with strong confidence and determination. Joshua enjoys taking on the leadership role in group situations and has the ability to pull the best traits out of his peers in the group. Please join me in congratulating Joshua. Our next student is Petrie Davis. No, she's here. Come on up. From the moment Petrie walked into our classroom, we knew she was special. She is a little ball of energy that is kind, thoughtful, and very caring. As a young child, Petrie faced many adversities. Her spirit wasn't dampened, and she continues to be an outstanding student and also an amazing classmate. She can always make those around her smile. We are so proud of Petrie. Join me congratulating Petrie Davis.
It doesn't matter, either way.
Our next student from the junior high school, Brandon Lyons. Brandon has dedicated himself to his schoolwork this year, so much so that after the first marking period, it was determined that Brandon should be moved into the honors track. Additionally, Brandon successfully ran for junior high student body president and is a member of the fitness club. He exemplifies a well-rounded student. Please join me in congratulating Brandon. And our last student for December, 12th grader, Hamis Gurgis. Hamis is a 12th grade student at Hoboken High School. She is an enthusiastic, hardworking young woman. She is one of the most inquisitive students we have ever known. She is a leader both in the classroom and in the school at large. Hamis is a pleasure to have in class. She is considerate of other students and always willing to lend a hand. Hamis is a determined young woman. This stems in large part of her upbringing and very supportive family. She's an outstanding student and very focused. Please join me in congratulating Hamis. Our January students of the month. Our first student is Cleo Tiamani. Chloe, I'm sorry. Chloe is a wonderful student who is respectful and well-mannered to all of her teachers and classmates. She constantly strives to challenge herself and is eager to learn new things. Whenever you need help, Chloe is more than willing to volunteer. She has proven herself to be a leader and a good role model in the classroom. Overall, Chloe exhibits great leadership, pride, and self-motivation. All of these attributes have led her to a selection as the January Collaborative Student of the Month. Congratulations. Our next student from Connors Elementary School, Gabrielis Del Valle. Gabrielis is an excellent student. She always comes to class prepared and ready to learn. Her homework and classwork always shows maximum effort, and she's always willing to participate in class. She consistently helps the other students in the class, and I have come to depend on her as an assistant to a pair with struggling students. Gabby is kind, respectful, and a role model for all the other students. On top of that, she has a natural ability in my class and always surprises me with her insight and ability to complete challenging problems. Please join me in congratulating Gabby. Our next student from Wallace, Reddy Damani. Reddy is a second grader in Mrs. Schickman's class at Wallace Elementary School. She is an outstanding student. Reddy comes to school on time and prepared every day. She has a perfect attendance. While Reddy's in school, she participates in all subject areas. She's eager to learn new things and shares her ideas and knowledge with her peers. Reddy works hard on different tasks and completes all classwork and homework. She has a positive attitude and is respectful towards adults and students in Wallace. Reddy strives to follow the Wallace School Pledge every day. Please join me in congratulating Reddy. Our next student is from the Hoboken Junior High School, Tyra Almonte. Tyra is a very smart young lady. She successfully ran for the Junior High Student Council. She's very involved in the process and is dedicated to making the junior high a success. Tyra is a well-rounded individual. She is considerate and caring toward her fellow students, and she is extremely dedicated to her academic success. She is an excellent candidate for the Student of the Month. Please join me in congratulating Tyra. And our last student, he's a 12th grader at the high school, Anthony Branda. Anthony has been an excellent student in media production too. Anthony joined media production without taking the first course, but still gives his best effort as he learns new technology and film techniques. He has rewritten and established a story and made it more cinematic. He has offered advice to his colleagues in class. He has prepared storyboards and is learning about how to break down a screenplay. Anthony is quite the varsity Red Wing player and is an active member of the senior class. We are very proud of his determination to learn and proud of his choice for our Student of the Month. Please join me in congratulating Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent's report, please.
So board members, today was a very busy day.
Here in the school district, in preparation for the Board of Ed meeting, the central office and many of the district employees were involved in New Jersey CUSAC monitoring. For those of you who are not familiar, that is a full state monitoring system that the state does. So representatives from the Department of Ed come to the school district to look at our vital statistics about student performance. They do a review, complete and very thorough review of our facilities, our personnel practices, our operations, governance, finance, and instruction. So it's a very long and tedious process that is carried out over 3 days. So we'll be involved in the monitoring process for the next 2 days in addition to today. And I'd like to just thank the members of our team, Miguel Hernandez, Tamika Balknight, Bill Moffitt, Jennifer Lopez, our district employees. I would like to thank one of our board members, Tom Klupfel, for participating in the process, as well as our teacher representative, Roseanne Versace. It's a lot of work, and I appreciate everybody's contribution to what I think will be a very successful process. Also, a special thanks to Liz McQuillan, can't forget Liz, and also to Victoria Lopez for all of their work behind the scenes and putting together many of the documents and the things that we need to be successful for today. The district continues to make efforts to improve communication. We took another step into the 21st century this week by introducing 2 features you can see on the district website. First, we have a digital backpack, which is a collection of school announcements for each school. So you click on the backpack icon that you will find on the district website. And when you click on that, you can go to each of the schools. And all the announcements that typically go home in the backpack are now available online. So for those of you who don't get notices, for our parents who don't receive notices, for kids who don't bring them home, you're able to always look and make sure that you are in touch with what's going on in the school. The other thing we did this week is we started a Twitter account. So now it is possible to follow the Hoboken Public Schools on our district Twitter account. You could do that if you just go onto our website. On the right-hand side, you'll see our latest tweets, and I'm kind of getting used to that. But we're going to push a lot more information out that way as well. So again, another way the district can communicate better with our parents and keep you up to date on all the different events going on in the district. The other thing, we have a website redesign committee that is working. It's a committee of teachers, parents, and the administrators. And what we're doing is we're working on redesigning our website to make it more functional. It's already a pretty good website. We have some things we want to do to redesign it to make it a little more organized and to have more of the information classified in under buttons and things like that, so it's easier to use. That's the general goal of it. Over the next few weeks, the district will be involved in another project. We have a committee of teachers, parents, and administrators working together to discuss the topic of transition. So the goal for the committee is to make recommendations about how to improve the transition of students from grade level to grade level and from building to building. So I'm thankful that we have many people volunteering for this important project, and it should be fun, lead to a lot of improvements in the district as far as our students and how they feel when they get to the new schools and with different teachers and things like that. I think it'll definitely work out well. Tomorrow's our first orientation meeting for our pre-K program, starting at 8:45 at Brant School. I'll be speaking, and we have many teachers and parents involved in sharing information about the pre-K program for our incoming parents. Next board meeting, I'll be providing the Board of Ed with an overview of where we stand with our district goals and other important initiatives now that we are halfway through the school year. The mid-year report will be informative and helpful for members of the public to understand how we are addressing various issues in the school district. Want to quick congratulate our theater program and Ms. Miller for doing just an unbelievable, fantastic job with their performance of the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. It was a musical that was put on at Hoboken Junior Senior High School over the past weekend. Just an amazing job, a very funny show. It was a comedy, it was a musical, it was a great performance. Also, in line with a performance like you saw, an excellent high school musical production, there are some significant awards that our students in the theater program received over the past few weeks. So very happy to report that at the Speech and Theater Association of New Jersey competition that was held at Rutgers University, one of the biggest theater competitions that is held in New Jersey, Jasmine Vergara and Danielle Colon were finalists for improvisation. Jamie Yoon Hendricks. Jamie Yoon Hendricks and Gina Rotundi were finalists in comedic monologue. And Jordan Yurnett won a half-tuition scholarship to Rowan University for his overall performance. So congratulations. Another nice nice little bit of recognition received by the Hoboken High School students and, Hoboken Junior Senior High School students is for their literary magazine, the student literary magazine Create. So also for their advisor, Sharon Melinda, they received a national rating of excellent for their latest edition of the magazine from the National Council of Teachers of English. So again, congratulations to the Hoboken High School students. And also Ms. Melinda for their achieving this great award. That concludes my report. No, there's one more thing, okay? As far as our broadcasts, so the Board of Ed broadcast that you'll be seeing on television is going to change a little bit. So it's kind of a neat thing. The board meeting will have a new opening and a new closing. It's new graphics. And so this was all developed by Hoboken High School senior Destiny Reddick, Mr. McCauley, and Ms. Greigel's Period 3 Sports and TV Journalism class. So very nice new way of packaging our Board of Ed meetings. And so I think you'll really like it. Okay? And that concludes my report now.
Anybody else?
Okay. Right, now, I also asked today to have Robin Picapietra come by. She's going to give you an update. We always look at all of our practices, our plans, our strategies, the different things that we do in the district. We like to monitor, and we like to report back to the board about how successful we are in all of our different endeavors. So in this case, I asked Robin to come by to talk about the school climate, and particularly also, in addition to the uniforms and how the uniform policy is working, and how that, along with other things they're doing, are leading to improvements in school climate. So, Robin?
Hi, everyone. I want to thank everyone, the Board of Ed and Dr. Toback, for giving me this opportunity to speak about all the great things going on at Hoboken Junior Senior High School. And it also seems like an appropriate time as we just passed the halfway mark of the school year to just give a little report at where we are. One of the most noticeable changes this year is the implementation of our school uniform policy. And I just wanted to talk about a couple of noteworthy things regarding the uniform policy because we hear a lot about it, pros, cons, but I'm going to speak from a climate and culture perspective and being in the school every day. So it has helped us improve our ability to keep our students safe. Members of our school community are easily recognized and identifiable, and students are easily identifiable as junior high or senior high students. Another great part of it is its ability to, students' ability to exercise professionalism. Students often go beyond the minimum of our policy. There's any day you could walk through the hallways and find a kid wear a tie, a jacket, even bow ties are becoming a little bit trendy right now at the high school, in the high school hallways. You can definitely see an air of confidence and professionalism that translates into better classroom performance. Our students, when they go on field trips, be it visiting a community college, a regular college, or just going on any kind of field trip outside of the school area, they wear their uniforms. We want them to feel good when they're wearing their uniforms, and it also makes us present well whenever we're visiting outside places. So I think that's a really important thing. One of the other really important things is the attention is placed on the person when you have a school uniform and not on the clothes they're wearing. It eliminates the pressure of fashion, which at times can manifest itself as inappropriate behaviors or teasing. And we've seen this after speaking with my HIB specialist and my student assistance counselors. We've seen a reduction in the amounts of student conflicts when it comes to these kind of conflicts. Like there's no teasing kind of things going on at the high school, at least about appearance, because everyone's pretty much on a level playing field. If you look around the room, I'm pretty proud that everyone's kind of still here. We have our Hoboken High School sweater, right, that Jamie's happy to portray out there. Please, I was speaking about it. It's great that, and I didn't plan this, he just happened to be wearing it. So thank you, Jamie. And as you could see, some of the students came up here and they just looked great. Even if they were wearing a pair of jeans, because they switched when they came home, they looked great with their black sweaters and their red collars. And there's definitely a pride and spirit that's involved when they wear a uniform. There's a unity amongst the students, and everyone wants to be a part of a group, and this group is our uniforms and the student body at Hoboken High School. Ms. Matera has our spiffy exemplars. If you walk in our lobby at any given time, you will see a wall where we have pictures of all our students that are happy to model the uniform and how they look, and they're always anxious to get on that wall. We have Mr. Jamie Yoon Hendricks there with his H, and we just got a new shipment, and I think we're going to send out emails to everyone who might want to purchase one, get ahead of everyone. We have Letterman sweaters coming in with the red cardigans with the H on it, and I think students, especially the seniors, this is a really great thing for them. They're walking around with these like little gifts from Hoboken High School, and I see more seniors than anyone. The kids you would think would be resistant to this whole thing because they've gone for years without a uniform are really stepping up to the plate and really exemplifying what it is to be a Red Wing and have pride in their school. When we first began this uniform in September, I received numerous calls. I know Mrs. Gullo received a couple of calls as well from community members. I've received them from friends that were like, I was just at McDonald's and I saw a few of your students. They look fabulous, right? So it is out there. People see our students. They recognize our students. They see these uniforms and they know they're coming to our high school. And they were calling us to really just compliment us on a job well done. And I don't think it's, I applaud the students. They came in day one, 100% participation, all on board. Listen, there's always a moment or two that we have to, have a battle. Maybe I think this is part of the uniform. We're always willing to listen to the kids through the student council and the proper channels, and we'll always work with them. But overall, the feedback from the community, from the students, from colleagues has been a really positive one. So I think overall our uniform policy is off to a great start. We're midway through the year and we're still at full participation because Mrs. Gullo and I would not have it any other way. And I think it's going forward, and I want to thank you for adapting that policy because it's really been positive for our school. So thank you.
No, thank you.
No. So there's a couple of other things that I want to speak to that feeds into our policy, into our culture at the school. One of the other noticeable additions has been the SROs, the school resource officers. This has been a great addition, and not because it offers any great security, but it's just another resource for our students. The officers are trained to work with adolescents and are in a support capacity 99% of the time. That's their role there. It's to, once again, be preventative and not reactive to what goes on in our school. Students often seek out the counsel of these SROs. They're recognizable people from the community, from where they live, and so these kids really reach out to these officers to get help in conflict resolution, which is a huge, huge part of our jobs at the high school. We have a code of conduct, and we're constantly enforcing the code of conduct. But one of the things we really work on, one of the things our discipline department, my vice principal, my guidance department, my students assistance council, we've all worked on one thing, and that's trying to be preventative, to try to teach kids the right way to resolve problems. And so we're changing the process a little. While discipline is always going to be the place where we go to enforce our code of conduct, it also is a place where our students go to link them to the resources that are available to them throughout the school, which could be our student center, which could be our student assistance counselor. It might be an HIB specialist they need, just their guidance counselor. Sometimes they need to talk to me or Mrs. Gullo about something. Whatever the case is, it's a conflict resolution. We all get involved, and we become much more, like I said, a school of resources to prevent code of conduct violations. And so we continue to work in that effort, and I think the results Dr. Toback had presented last board meeting are EVVRS results, and when you look at those numbers, you see a decrease in those because of all the resources that we have at the high school, and the junior high, I should say junior high school, all the resources we have there that help prevent things happening. And the school resources officers, our discipline department, these are all people working to make the school a better place. Not to mention some of the programs. I know a lot of our members here might have been involved in our second annual Challenge Day, which is It incorporates our students, it incorporates our teaching, it incorporates administrators, guidance counselors, community members, and parents. And basically, it's a full day of character building. It helps students build self-esteem, and it also builds tolerance within the building. Exactly. And so people who know the signs know that it's a really strong program. Last year, we had 100 students participated with over 30 adults. This year, we had 200 with over 50 adults participating in this program. We've already hit over a third of our school. We bring this program back next year, and we're at half our school. So I think that's another great thing that speaks to our climate and culture at the school. So one of the things we always want to talk about at school is education and academics. And so I want to talk just a couple of little blips about the overall, picture and what's going on there. Dr. Toback just mentioned two great things. We had our stand where we were recognized. We had our Harvard Model Congress where we had 2 students recognized with phenomenal awards last month, which we talked about. Ms. Scullo and I analyzed our first and second mark and period grades, and we have seen a decrease in the amount of student course failures at the end of the first semester, which is a great positive. We have an increase in the number of students making high honors and honor roll, and our athletic directors list has doubled in size. Our athletic department has seen a reduction of almost 50% in students that are deemed ineligible during their athletic season. Our SAT scores, HESPA scores have all improved, and most notably, our graduation rate has improved by 10%. These are all great things, all a result of a great climate and culture at Hoboken Junior Senior High School. We're making great strides there. I want to thank you, everyone here, for your support, and I would be happy to present more positive stuff in the future. We welcome you to attend our annual open house on March 12th at 7 p.m. at the high school. It's a great opportunity for you all to see what goes on in the 4 walls that I call home. So, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I have a question for Ms. Pietro, do you want me to wait after the business administrator's report? Or?
After the BA report, and then
I can ask my...
address it to the board.
Absolutely, sure.
Okay.
Just 2 quick items. I didn't have this for the Finance Committee, but the Food Service Management Company was able to get me a copy of their financial statements, which is on a monthly basis for January. Although they're not, I should say, moving tremendously in a positive direction when they are slightly moving. I could note that they have improved operations from this point last year, and they continue to improve to the end of the year. So the accumulated portion of that food service deficit should be somewhat stable this year. And we're going to continue to monitor that on a monthly basis. Second item is I will be withdrawing the finance item 10.04 from tonight's agenda. That contract award, after negotiation, we continued negotiation while it was on the agenda, fell below the threshold for board consideration, so I'm withdrawing it at this time.
Okay,
but that concludes my report.
Before we go to executive session, does anybody have something?
Yes, I do. Regarding the superintendent's report, I also noticed, and I look forward to seeing this new graphics package that the students created. Being a media professional, I'm always interested in seeing, and I've been always impressed with what they've been doing in Mr. McCauley's class. And I also noticed that the meetings are also on YouTube lately. So, I mean, I've been noticing that they've been posted there, which is a little more convenient for people to find, I think, instead of our board meetings, I'm saying.
Due to the board docs.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, okay. I was wondering about that. Okay. And Ms. Pietro, if you don't mind, I was just curious, when you came to us last year discussing this uniform policy, you were saying that you spent the better part of your day enforcing dress code. And I was just curious, would you say that that has greatly improved now with the uniforms in the high school? Please, yeah.
And there's always monitoring. As long as you're in a high school, you're always going to have to monitor. Kids are kids, right? But, Mrs. Gullo and I have taken the teachers into account, and we started day one. It was very fuzzy when you just have a dress code. When you have a uniform policy, it's very clear cut. So there's no like subjective kind of decisions made during the day. It's like, yep, out of uniform, in uniform. Where it's like, looks a little short, are the hands long enough? There's a
Right.
lot more of that going down. There's a reduction in violations of what should be worn.
What's the dress
You
code?
know, is there monitoring? Absolutely, there's always going to be monitoring. But for our part of the day, yeah, it's been
It's been a huge improvement.
Right.
It was one of my early concerns, and I'm very glad to hear
No,
that.
no, no,
Absolutely.
No, there's definitely more time for us to be in classrooms.
That's excellent.
And that was our goal.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
no
Mr. Chair.
problem.
We're going to go into executive session for hopefully no more than 20 minutes. Vito, do you want to say
It's my understanding.
characterization of it?
Interesting. Well, that's not what you're looking for? Okay.
I am, actually.
The matter to be discussed involves a matter that impacts both personnel and, based upon the committee-level discussion, you're looking for legal advice that would be protected by the attorney-client privilege. So I think those two would justify the executive session.
Great. Please, can we go into executive session?
So, I have a question, I'm sorry. Even though the matter is not pertaining to a specific personnel, it's just pertaining to a specific position, I'm guessing we're going into closed session. We still need to go into closed session?
We do. Again, given the committee-level discussion, I want the board to be able to ask questions of counsel as well as how the item at issue might impact existing personnel. So that's why I said those two issues are impacted. I think we can also clarify for the public that the matter subject to the discussion is intended to be made public almost immediately thereafter.
Exactly. So it's, no decision will be made during executive session.
Never.
Never.
And,
Okay.
don't we normally pull an agenda item to go into closed, or we're just
We're
talking?
going into executive session
Okay, on the whole agenda, basically, or?
on this item. You can't go in executive session.
Oh, and you're going to say what the item is?
One specific personnel
I sent
item.
an email out what it is.
Oh, well, just for the public.
Okay.
Right.
Transparency.
Right, that's why I say we're going to come out in public.
No, but I'm saying we should tell the public what the item is, correct?
I thought that was clear, but the specific item that would necessitate the discussion involves the law covering the salary caps as implemented by the accountability regulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
I move that we go into executive session.
Second?
Call roll. Mr. Biancamano?
No.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Cluffell?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes Kearns?
No.
Ms. Sobolov?
Yes.
Ms. Stromwall?
Yes.
And Dr. Gold?
Yes.
Motion carries.
A number, because we changed it to governance, the one we just talked about. So what number is that?
9.24.
We have to come back from executive.
9.24. We do. I just was a question. Okay, could you bring us out of executive session, please?
Have a motion?
I move that we are out of executive session.
Second?
Second. Ms. Mitchell? Mr. Biancamano?
Aye.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Cluffell?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes Kearns?
Yes.
Ms. Sobolov?
Yes.
Ms. Stromwall?
Yes.
And Dr. Gold?
Yes. Okay, we're going to do the committee reports now. So the first report we're going to do is communications and finance.
Two separate committees.
Yes.
The, make sure I have the date correct. The Communications Committee met on February 6th, last Thursday. All the committee meetings were moved because of the snow date, from 8 o'clock until 9. It was a one-hour meeting. We could have used probably 2 more if we had the time. It's a fascinating topic. This was the inaugural meeting of this newly formed committee, and joining me, who was the chair, was Jennifer Evans, Leon Gold, Irene Sobolov, and Dr. Mark Toback. This was a kickoff meeting, as I said, and although we came to no firm conclusions, we were there to really talk about the goals and responsibilities of this committee. I think by the end of our discussion, we were kind of circling around things that we thought the board could actually
achieve in a realistic way without stepping on the toes of existing administrative functions or getting our responsibilities confused with staff. I think it's some of those things that the board might think about doing, but I think the committee will continue to meet and sort of hone this, is things like maybe somewhere on the district website a board page where we can talk about issues facing the board or challenges facing the board that we think the public would benefit by knowing. Perhaps taking advantage of our public access channel also as a way to communicate with the public for issues that are of interest or of concern to the board that would want to be communicated to the public. So it was and other things. There's a short list. Sort of reaching out to the community and bringing information back to the board would be another function of this communications committee. So it was an interesting start, and we will continue to meet, and I think we'll come back at some point with some firm recommendations of how we could be productive and useful to the board and to the community. The Finance Committee meeting followed immediately thereafter, at the 9 o'clock until about 10. It was a very light agenda, as you know. There were 4 items up until about 40 minutes ago. Now there are 3 items, all very standard and nothing out of the ordinary. Payroll approval, the expenses for the month, and then one sort of technical little request from a school that we send children to who would like a resolution about feeding their children. So we recommend all agenda items to the committee for approval. Okay. We did talk about the budget process, and I think this is important. Although the work has been ongoing since, I think, December on the budget, we're still far from a budget because, as last year, and I'm sure every year, there's some critical information that we are awaiting from the state. Funding issues. Also, there's a very critical decision about the expansion of the charter school that we are waiting for. That will have significant effect on the budget, and there's just nothing that we can do until those pieces start to fall in place. But it looks like the budget process is also, because we moved the elections to November, they've been moved back a little bit. Last month, the public hearings and the voting on the budget happened in March. This year, it will be pushed back until mostly happening, the public meetings will be held in April with, I think, a final vote probably in early May. We'd have to take a look. There's going to be a couple of special meetings, I think, scheduled, and we'll try to coincide that with our regular meetings as well. That's the committee report. Great. What to do with that? Letter?
Right, I apologize, my computer has a virus, so I don't have my notes, so I just have these little bits here, but I think a lot of it was discussed already. It was a very light agenda also. We talked about the play, which also came up, and I want to say that it was really an amazing show. I had never heard of it, and it was really funny. It was a funny show, but also I think sort of stretched the students creatively, a lot of improv, so I really give congratulations to them for that. And I had wanted to mention the Create magazine. Dr. Toback had mentioned that. In performing arts, I also just wanted to mention quickly that there's a parent meeting for the Old District play Little Mermaid, and that's on February 24th, because the auditions are March 3rd and 5th. So I wanted to make sure people knew that. And under athletics, very quickly, I just wanted to give a little shout out to the bowling team, which hasn't made the county playoffs in a very long time, I understand, and they made the playoffs last week. And Anthony Branza, who is here, one of our students of the month, is a senior on that team. They had a very strong showing. So I wanted to say congrats to them. And I think that was it. Sorry for my script.
Fantastic. Facilities, please.
The Facilities Committee met on February 6th. In attendance was myself as the chair, Leon Gold, Irene Sobolov, Monica Stromwell, and Tim Callaghan, the Facilities Director. We discussed facilities at the Wallace School. Irene Sobolov had stated that the Wallace PTO expressed interest in updating and brightening the entrance to their school. So she discussed the PTO's intent, their general ideas and elements that needed updating, such as paint, some light sockets, and ceiling tiles. And Mr. Kelly was receptive to the idea of meeting with the parents to discuss the ideas and execution. Some enhancements can be provided by the district, others by the PTO, school parents, and other sources. The food services side, wellness, there was an energetic discussion on ideas to increase the participation in the breakfast and lunch program. We had a brainstorming session for ideas for increasing sales. A big welcome to Monica. She was a huge participant. We discussed the scope of the upcoming health fair, and we're requesting that Sodexo's marketing staff help plan the health fair for the district. Monica recommended applying for financial grants to the district, as well as consider a cost-benefit analyst of a grant writer for the district. Hoboken Junior Senior High School and the other schools were also exploring areas of planned gardens and classrooms to sponsor them. So that's our report, my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Governance and President comments. At governance, we only had one item, and it's a very big item. It's the elephant that's in the room, which is the superintendent cap. There's a cap on how much we can pay our superintendent. It's based on the size of the school district. It's not based on the demographics of where the school district is located. It's not based on the demographics of the students that you have to educate. And it's not based on the competence of the superintendent who you have. Also, the cap will make it so an assistant superintendent can make more than the superintendent. Conceivably, a principal can make more than a superintendent. In my opinion, and only my opinion, the superintendent cap is a capricious political act on the part of a politician. However, our problem is we have a superintendent and who I think is doing a great job, and if the superintendent wants to stay, that's great. If he doesn't want to stay, we'll still have a problem, which is finding somebody of high enough quality and caliber to lead the school district. So the governance committee recommended that our lawyer prepare a letter asking for a waiver of the cap. And it's not even a waiver of the cap. It's saying that we would like to be capped at the same level as a school with a larger population than we have. This letter will go to whoever the head of the school board is, the Commissioner of Education, and it will also go to our state senators, and it will also go to our assembly people. To the extent that they believe they are supportive of the Hoboken public school system, I certainly hope and pray that they will put their personal efforts towards letting this cap be increased to the extent to which we would be a larger school. However, this is what was submitted in governance, and we talked about it at executive session. There's one thing I want to be very clear about, and I'm actually going to read it so there's no misunderstanding. In conjunction with the resolution authorizing the board to seek a waiver of the salary caps applicable to superintendents, we want the public to understand that the idea for seeking such a waiver arose out of the board's concern, while looking ahead at the issue of the leadership of this district into the future and about an appropriate salary for a superintendent in our district, and not out of any request or suggestion or demand by Dr. Toback. This request, this resolution, if it's accepted, is coming from the board, and there was no arm twisting or even hinting that it should be done. In fact, there was a lot of discussion about this resolution, but it's something that I feel is very important, and I think that you actually have to take a stand if you care about a district, and this is an example of it. So I would also like to thank Dr. Toback, Mr. Moffett, and all the administrators that put together a great budget presentation, and I hope that people watching us now will go to the website and actually look at what our budget issues are and where we'll proceed in the future. So that's my comments on the committee. What I'd like to do, does anybody signed up for agenda items?
No, sir.
Okay. Before I bring up the agenda, I'd like to open it to the board.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Are we, what is the process we're following now? Just asking questions on agenda items? Are we pulling?
Actually, since we have, let's talk about the committees or the agenda items.
Okay. I guess I'll start with agenda item 9.16. That's the approval of the new job description for the permanent substitute teacher.
Yes.
3 separate questions. I'll say the questions, then I'll have you answer. If you're hiring this position with no benefits, what's the difference between a per diem sub and a permanent sub, is my first question. What's... Okay. Well, I'll continue asking my questions. What's the benefit for the district, and would they acquire tenure in the position?
So, as far as the permanent sub goes, okay, you would want to have somebody who is who's in the district. Typically, that's a person who's looking for a job, possibly as a teacher, who maybe is initially unable to get a job. It's very hard, difficult to find jobs in elementary schools. But so one, there's a benefit to the district because you have some stability. If there is a situation where there's a teacher who, for whatever reason, is out and unable to work, you can immediately put someone in who's qualified, competent, and able to continue what's in the best interest of the children. Someone that the children, a person that the children would know, a person that the staff members would know, someone who has a rapport in the community. I think that would be a great benefit to the district. And so that's a recommendation. Now, what was your third question?
Would they acquire tenure in the position?
They would be certified, but they're temporary employees. They would only be renewed. They wouldn't have an ongoing contract. Okay, so that would be something that you'd have to be worried about, but certainly not anything you'd need to worry about now.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, because it's the same item.
Please.
Agenda item. With the substitute, the permanent, we're talking a permanent substitute teacher, would they be, like, what would the job description be? A set amount of hours that every week that they would?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what about the cost of health care coverage?
There's no health care coverage.
Why not? With that affordable, what is it called, the Affordable Care Act?
Because-
It says that there is, that we would be a district, a school district, if a person is working more than 30 hours a week.
They wouldn't be.
Actually, I'm going to step in. This is a legal
Okay.
question.
Right.
No, but
please
it's real
comment.
simple. They're not.
Okay, they're not, but there's going to be an argument on whether or not.
But these are the kind of questions, I mean, I understand your desire to have answers, but normally questions like this are resolved in advance. So if you have a lot of questions like this, probably be better to
But
maybe email.
on the Affordable Care Act page,
I'm
it
gonna-
says, excuse me, I'm asking a question.
I'm the chair now.
You're a chair and you're stopping me from
I am-
asking my question. That is,
You are not going to ask a question to the superintendent.
all right, I'll ask it to you. I'll ask it to you or to legal counsel, whoever you want me to ask it
Please
to.
ask it to legal
Okay,
counsel.
a permanent substitute teacher, even a substitute teacher, if they work more than 30 hours a week, anybody...
we know that.
Right, they're entitled to the affordable health care where it's specific for school districts that we have to, by law, by the new regulations that came out,
But Mrs.
we
Rhodes,
have
you're not hearing, the person will not work over 30 hours.
It says more than 30 hours, 30 hours or more.
They would work less than 30 hours.
So a permanent substitute is going to say specifically that their hours will never exceed 30 hours?
They have lunch, and when you add it together, it is under 30 hours.
Next, any other comments?
Okay, so it'll never exceed 30 hours during the week, or 130 hours a
They
month,
can't.
either one.
Because we would not want to be in a situation where we have to pay benefits to a substitute.
Right, so we have the substitute pool anyway, we have a whole pool of substitute teachers that we approve practically every month. I don't understand why the need for the permanent then, if we have all these pools, and they're not going to go over 30 hours anyway.
Okay? The benefit is the fact that the person would have steady work, and the benefit to the district is we would have somebody in the wings who would be able to take over when we come into a situation where a teacher, if they're injured or something happens, is unable to work.
And this is a non-union position?
It's just a substitute. Just
And also, please, you are asked if there was a questions like this to talk to the superintendent.
That's
This is
right.
just grandstanding.
It's not grandstanding.
is.
It's
Okay.
our right to ask questions at a public meeting, Mr. Chair. It is.
So, wait, is there a regulation now where a sub can only work a certain amount of days? So would that be helpful in this situation?
It would be if they're certified, then they could work up to 40 days.
Right.
So, again, it offers the district some flexibility, and it's something that lots of other districts do. Like, so I'm not understanding, even at a place like Hudson County Schools for Technology, they probably have permanent subs.
And that's my concern. I know they have permanent subs, but they also have health care.
Okay.
They are given health care. Those
Well, in
permanent
this
subs
case-
go
in this
beyond
case-
30 hours a week for the exact same reason that you're talking
Well, in this
about.
case, it wouldn't.
Because of the continuity, so that the students are used to them and.
We're going to move
with the-
on. This
So
is
you're,
being
so you're
argumentative.
aware of the reasons why you would have. a person.
Right, but it's still a
Please,
cost to the
I'm
district.
going to just step in now.
Okay.
Right.
This is being argumentative.
It's
This
not
is fine.
being argumentative, it's
Let's
being
go on.
factual, Mr. Gold. The superintendent addressed me about where I work, and I know of the permanent substitutes. Yes,
We're
I
gonna
do.
move on.
And they receive health benefits because they go over the 30 hours a week for that exact same reason,
Thank you.
to cover the classes, because there are a lot of absenteeism,
Okay.
for
Next.
whatever reason.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Yes.
I can move on. 9.17, approval of staff for sixth grade, sixth teaching period, rather. If the class has already begun, why does the resolution state pending adequate enrollment? Was the course planned by the administration?
So there's adequate enrollment, there are
It's-
16 students.
Okay, so then why does the resolution state pending adequate enrollment?
Where are we? What number is it?
And the next number, 9.17?
8:14.
Because the resolution was originally submitted that way.
And was this course planned since the beginning of the year? Did the administration?
An economics course.
Okay, so therefore, there is adequate enrollment, but the resolution still says pending adequate enrollment, so therefore the course will go on.
Yes.
So the pending shouldn't have beyond the resolution then? I'm just curious.
We use that as a precautionary thing, that we want to make sure there's adequate enrollment. So we use that, so there's some flexibility at a board meeting. If there's questions about something, or if there's, you have a determination that's made right before you actually take action. So always go back and look before you do.
Okay. If nobody else has a question on that, I can
Okay,
move
because
on.
somebody has a consent agenda, so I...
Well, no, I have-
Wait. I know that people have comments, so to move on, please bring up those items that you have
Sure.
issues with that will not make it a consent agenda.
Okay.
Please.
The next resolution is 10.03, and this is a finance resolution. And this question is, of course, directed towards you, Mr. Chair, but also towards Mr. Moffett. So since this program will not be charging students for lunch anymore, where will the lunch money come from now? Is it part of the tuition contract, or?
No, this is, may I?
Please.
Yeah, this is, first of all, historically, an action we've taken in the past, and this individual preschool, I should say, private school for the handicapped, will not charge, and they requested not having to charge a reduced or free rate for really the meals that they offer their children. So they're just asking us that they're not going to charge a free and reduced rate for our students. We have about 3 students at this site.
Right,
That's
therefore,
basically what it is.
so therefore, how are we going to pay for those lunches for those 3 students?
Well, this is for their attendance at an out-of-district placement. So we don't really get involved in offering them this meal. Yeah. They will arrange food service for their students. They will not charge a free and reduced rate for students.
So they're going to charge them regular rate? They're going to charge
Yes,
us regular
for my
rate, that
family.
means?
No, for their families.
Their families regular?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they went through.
Other items?
I do.
Please.
Okay, it's just one more. You did the other two. It is 9.7, approval of children of non-resident staff members.
9.7?
9.07, it says, yeah. Do you have it? Yes, you have it? Yeah. Okay. My question is, once I saw this, I just wanted to know, perhaps not at this meeting, maybe the next meeting or through an email, if I can get a figure of how many staff member children, not names, just how many are here from out of district, from other areas, and if they're school choice or not. They're not, right? This is part of our
Not school
policy that we
choice.
allow. It's a courtesy that we allow. And so if I could get the figures for the enrollment in our district for staff members' children and for school choice children, what the total is. That's all I wanted to know. It just
Okay.
triggered my, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments before the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, I was just wondering if we could pull 9.24 from the consent agenda before we vote on it. I would like to make a
And then you
comment
want to
separately.
discuss it afterwards?
Yes, correct. I want to vote on all the other items, not discuss it, I just want to make comments before I vote on that specific one.
Fine, is there a motion? I'm going to we'll pull 9.24 and vote on everything else as a consent agenda.
Fair enough.
I move it.
Second? Okay.
Second. Irene? Call roll. Mr. Biancamano?
Yes on everything except no on 9.16.
Miss Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Cluffel?
Yes.
Miss Mitchell?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes Kearns?
Yes on everything and no on 9.16.
Ms. Sobolov?
Yes.
Ms. Stromwall?
Yes.
And Dr. Gold?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Please put up agenda item 9.24. Motion?
Move it.
Second.
Discussion.
Okay. Call roll.
Mr. Biancamano?
So I would like to make a comment, Mr. Chair, before my vote. In looking at this resolution when I received the agenda on Friday, the first thing I did was I wanted to research what the New Jersey School Boards Association said about doing this, and found some interesting things. Districts with 10,000 plus more students will pay the superintendents the maximum of $175,000. If we look at our enrollment specifically for kindergarten through 12th grade, eliminating charter schools and early childhood, our enrollment is at 1,700 students. After receiving a waiver last year from the state on the 2% cap of the overall budget, I cannot have the taxpayers subjected to another increase. Interestingly enough, the New Jersey School Boards Association has an interesting excerpt on what I received from them. It says, "The New Jersey School Boards Association has also stressed that the role of the Board of Education is not to advocate for administrator salaries, but to ensure good quality leadership." Regarding this, coming from this rather, I'm going to have to vote no on this resolution tonight. Thank you.
Miss Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Cluffel?
Yes.
Miss Mitchell?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodes Kearns?
No.
Miss Sobolov?
Yes.
Miss Stromwall?
Yes.
And Dr. Gold?
A no vote is a slap in the face of our superintendent or future superintendent. And I think it's clear where various people on the board stand in terms of bringing excellence to our school system. Of course, I'm voting yes. What?
I wanted to make a comment.
Okay, please, sorry.
I think, I understand, I never understood the waiver in terms of enrollment, because it doesn't take into account any kind of differences. I mean, in a town like Hoboken, our enrollment may be on the small scale, but the variety, the diversity is so large. I mean, we educate the poorest children in Hoboken. We also educate the children of the richest families in Hoboken. We have a huge, huge width of programming for children that need an incredible amount of help, and programming for children that want challenges, AP, gifted and talented. It's a very big job. It's a job for people who need to understand the state Abbott money, the federal money. And I think that if we were looking in the future, this will have a cost. I understand the consideration for the taxpayers, but if people don't think that this process isn't going to cost every couple of years, there's going to be a huge cost in money and in continuity and in just turnover and people coming in and getting the quality of people coming in. I absolutely believe that there will be a cost moving on, and I think this would be a cost savings, and I absolutely agree with this resolution.
Okay. Also, you know I voted yes. I want to make it clear, by the very law that said there was a 2% cap provided for our waivers. So you can't say you're in favor of one part of the law, but you're not in favor of the other part. The waiver was in fact part of the cap, so the two of them went together.
Right, and I'm discussing the waiver where it said that we can go an additional
Yeah, I know-
2%.
yes.
We can go an additional 2%. That's what I'm, but you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. So,
Okay, is there any public portion?
There's one sign up.
Please.
Jason Yoon Hendricks.
I didn't think I had more than 5 minutes of comments, but since there's no one else here, can I? Just kidding. Sorry. Good evening. Welcome to the new board members. I really appreciate the effort and the commitment you're going to make to this. It's not trivial. As I appreciate all the board members. And I look forward to seeing the fruits of your efforts and all your hard work. As was mentioned, the theater department musical was another great success, awesome, certainly for the students involved, but also for the lucky folks that attended. And there's, as I've said many times before, so many great things going on in the school. One of the things that I think would be great for the board to do, and within his limited capacity, the superintendent, the administration, after we get through the budget stuff and all that important stuff, is to maybe think about how we get some of the different curricular and extracurricular groups, clubs, and whatnot, working across lines to help market not just their own efforts and what they're doing, but also the school in the process. Because, like I'm always saying, there's great things happening in the Hoboken district. I just wanted to say a few things about some comments that were made at the last meeting. I was, unfortunately, I had to leave early and didn't have the pleasure of listening in directly, but I feel a need to. I did note that the safety and stats, I guess the mid-year safety stats, were distributed last month, so that maybe prompted this comment from this gentleman. But also there was this article, which I'm going to talk about. The comments made at the last meeting with regard to school safety were based on the misshapen and I believe biased analysis of self-reported public school data in New Jersey, made by a local news reporter in a blog post. The so-called study was, I believe, designed to single out a school and a town on that South Jersey reporter's beat. So it was a patch article, but was focusing on a school down south. The subject of safety is, of course, very, very important. And as a very satisfied parent of two happy and safe public school students, I feel compelled to share a few more thoughts. The reporter in question is not an economist, a statistician, or education professional. And by removing smaller schools and excluding from the data some major segments of the public school ecosystem, including charter schools, he managed to find one category, violence, that put Wildwood, the school in his editorial domain, at #1 under a provocative headline. Hoboken, it seems, was just statistical collateral, if I could call it that. But what is violence in the context of this report and this ranking? It turns out violence is not weapons. It is not bullying, both of which are tracked separately. And Dr. Toback has made reference to these separately, and but the patch ranking does not reflect a Hoboken district rife with these problems, or any others, in fact. As defined by the State Department of Education, the category does include fights, mutual engagement, assaults, as they put it, which is sort of like he started it, and theft and threats of different kinds. The Patch article states that the data does not differentiate based on the severity of the incident, but such details are available on the state site. For the school year 2012-2013, which is the last full year I think we have, the Hoboken District reports of violence were entirely comprised of the fight variety, mostly mutual engagement. A couple of guys got into fights. In some cases, I'm sure it was girls too. The exception of 2 so-called threats. It's worth noting that no reported threats or bullying, for that matter, took place in the high school, which is the school in our district which most commonly has the rumor mill churning over it. Furthermore, no incidents of bullying, none reported at the high school grades. So how many of us don't remember students, when we were students, hearing of fights between guys with grudges or between girls for that matter? Such incidents should not be minimized, but misperceptions about the Hoboken District are both an affront to the students that attend and their families. And it's also a disservice to young parents who are considering their options going forward. The problem isn't only caused by reckless journalists, but also people too willing to accept headlines as facts. Getting to the truth isn't always easy, but it is critical to making good choices, including the right school for one's children. In my 4 years as a district parent, I have seen an administration in Hoboken that is vigilant as it is focused on safety and discipline, and on rigor and results. My kids attend a high school that has not just challenged them academically and given them a multitude of extracurricular experiences, but has also enriched them culturally and socially. And because our schools are as diverse as the community itself, more so in fact, it has left them far better prepared for the world they will live in.
Thank you.
Is anyone keeping track? Because
Yeah.
I got my overtime already?
Sorry.
All right.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion, the meeting's closed. Anybody want to second it?
Second.
Okay. Aye?
Aye.